Alright, here we go for a pretty cool combo deck that we're bringing from Historic into Timeless. This is a deck revolving around Velomachus Lorehold, a 7-mana 5/5, which is definitely underrated, or understated, that is. But despite having less than ideal stats, it does come with Flying, Vigilance, and Haste, and a very good on-attack trigger that allows us to look some amount of cards deep and cast a spell for free out of them. Those aren't always guarantees because it is dependent on how big the Velomachus is, and we have to hit something that is less than the number of cards that we looked deep, or it has to cost less than we looked that many cards. Hopefully that makes sense. You can read the card if it doesn't make sense from my explanation. But let's talk about the deck and what we're attempting to do here. So the standard combo is Velomachus Lorehold with some amount of Time Warps in the deck. This allows us to basically go infinite if we can just guarantee that we hit the Time Warps over and over. So that's one thing that we want to do with Velomachus. If we have some amount of Time Warps in hand and then hit one off of the Velomachus Lorehold, that means that every Time Warp in our hand allows us to get another attack in with Velomachus and increases our ability to hit that second and further the Velomachus triggers. So that is the original game plan. We played it before in Historic, and it was kind of hit or miss, though, because this thing's only a 5/5, and while it can cast Time Warp just off of its base stats, it was never really that good, and you'd often whiff with this kind of combo. Now that we have Timeless, things do get a little bit better. We will be trying to use Brainstorm here to set up these Time Warps, so if we get one in the hand, we can Brainstorm it back on top. So that'll be a really good way to set up the Velomachus kill once we get it onto the battlefield. And the other thing that we're doing is we're changing how we get Velomachus onto the battlefield. Prior to this, it was done in a at least Mardu shell, black, white, red, where we would use some sort of reanimation effect that is usually in black, white in Historic in order to bring the Velomachus back. Now we've had some more cards being printed since last time these decks were really being explored in Historic, and we have Invoke Justice from Kamigawa, which allows you to return a permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Does not have to be creature, and then you can distribute 4 1/1 counters among creatures that you control. So the big combo here is get back your Velomachus Lorehold, put the 4 counters on it to make it a 9/9. Now it's hasty, hits your opponent for basically almost a 2-shot, and then can look 9 deep and cast a 9-drop or less. And so we should be pretty likely to hit our Time Warps, or at least we should be able to get, 1 or 2 chained back to back. Hopefully that'll be enough to win the game. Now, another thing that we do have is we do run Dig Through Time as just kind of another Brainstorm type effect. This does work with Velomachus Lorehold if it comes back through Invoke Justice, because you can cast it, so that does make everything in this deck straight up castable. At least the instants and sorceries. So the hits that we have are 3 Dig Through Times, 4 Time Warps, 4 Faithful Mendings, Swords to Plowshares, and Brainstorm. And then the rest of the cards in here are just to kind of make the rest of the deck function. We are running 1 Scholar of the Lost Trove, which can be cast from either hand or through Invoke Justice. And what this is going to allow us to do is basically have a way to get back Invoke Justices and Time Warps that hit the graveyard, whether or not we get milled or whether we get countered or something like that. It'll give us another way to get our cards back once they hit the graveyard. Teferi is in this deck because being able to cast our Invoke Justice at instant speed is super amazing, and that's pretty solid. Plus he stops counter magic, so that's also just very good for us. Time Warp at instant speed is also a thing that can happen. And then the final card, the final piece of the puzzle, is Dragon's Rage Channeler, because we can both fuel the Dig Through Time and look to put a Velomachus into the graveyard. It also serves as card selection for our true card selection spells, if we don't have a Brainstorm or Faithful Mending in hand, and it can help us find and put the Time Warp where we want it to be. So, that's the deck. We have a lot of fun games coming up for you today. Hope you enjoy. And do like and comment on the video, helps with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you're new for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now with that being said, we'll hop into the games here and see what this deck can do. Alright, we're starting off in round 1 here. Not much card selection here. Dig Through Time doesn't do a lot in the initial part of the game, so I'm going to mulligan this. This is better. We get Faithful Mending into Teferi, and we can get rid of this Time Warp. I think that's a fair keep for me. Notably, we have 2 out of 4 pips for Invoke Justice. So that's not going to be enough for right now. Dark Ritual Necropotence is probably the play here. Or Triple Thoughtseize. Oh, we're doing some Artifact Storm. Now that I love to see. Renegade map is to just search for basic land. So they're going to be thinning very aggressively here. We get to do Faithful Mending. So if we can hit our Velomachus, we can set him up in the graveyard. And then all that we need to do is find 2 more white pips. And get this island into play. So that means we're 3 turns out, which against a Storm deck like this might not be enough. And then just go ahead and Faithful Mending. I doubt they play Counter Magic. If they do, it's probably the Pact of Negation kind. Well, that's just a DRC, unfortunately. We'll get rid of 2 cards here. Probably just these 2. They're not going to be playing things at instant speed. And then Dig Through Time is going to be a little bit late. We want to be able to cast something with DRC here. Or, sorry, get the Surveil trigger. So we'll have 3... Okay, there's a white mana source. That's 3 out of 4. We'll go DRC into Faithful Mending here. Get our DRC trigger. Opponent's got priority to search for a land, which they haven't yet with Renegade map. They can draw with Mindstone. This is maybe Beseech then, if they're going to be doing... Oh, never mind. Okay, so they're just using that to hit their land drops and thin their deck. Mindstone to draw. It's a good thing to see them in that sort of position. I'm just going to Faithful Mending now. Get our Surveil quick. I think we want to go as aggressively as possible for a land that produces white. That's Velomachus into the graveyard, so we actually are just 1 land away here. Alright, it's going to take us likely 2 turns. We'll get to be able to see 3 cards next turn through our draw and through Faithful Mending. So we just need them to hold on for about 2 more turns. They've only played 1 Cloud Key, so that's great. There's a lot of Cheerios in this deck, it seems, so it may just be a deck where you're attempting to just hit 1 of these cost reducers rather than multiple cost reducers in order to play things like a 4-drop Hedron Archive for free or something like that, Mystic Archive, or Mystic Forge kind of deal. They probably just draw really hard with this and gain life. Alright. It's not impossible. We can put this in top since we can cast this Faithful Mending. I'll go ahead and just do that now. Get our Surveil in before combat in case our opponent does anything to us. Another Velomachus into the graveyard, so we're set up for 2 times with Invoke Justice. Alright, and then we get rid of this Rockern Triumph, and it's going to have to be one of the Invoke Justices. And we do get our combo off next turn, potentially. It all depends on if this 1 out of 4, essentially, or it's maybe 1 out of 5 that we're looking at through our deck can contain a Time Warp. Cusco Clockmaker. Okay, he's not a problem. That Midnight Clock will be an issue for us, though. This is definitely like a weird artifact synergy deck. There must be like some payoff with like a Tezzeret or something in there. They get to put a counter on, and we get to Hollowed Fountain Shock, play Invoke Justice, bringing back our Velomachus, targeting us to put 4 counters. We Surveil here. We're putting away anything that's not a Time Warp, and we bring this back, putting 4 counters onto it. And this is an attack for 12, which already is really good. And we do hit the Time Warp, so that should be it. Opponent's got a little bit of mana here that can work, but I'm thinking that we have another free attack here. Another upkeep. Sacred Foundry. Doesn't really matter. We swing in. Look at the top, and we find another Time Warp, so we are fully comboing off. We would have killed them from 20. Alright, we get into 12 here, and opponent is dead. Well, that's a great round 1. We actually got really lucky with our Time Warps, and this really shows why having a 9/9 instead of a 5/5 is so much different. Like, the amount that we get to look deep every round, or every time that we attack with this thing, goes from being like what, 1/10 or like 1/12 of the deck to maybe like 1/5 or so. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. Or I guess it's 1/5 or 1/6, but you know that is, in terms of the probability, almost like a doubling of the probability to hit. Don't check me on that. I'm not a not well versed in my math, but it's definitely a lot better than if we were just going in with a 5/5. So that was great, and nothing else to say. So let's hop in round 2 and go for another one of these. Here we go. All right, this is round 2. DRC into Faithful Mending seems good to me. Slow play. That feels good, and we have something to discard to our Faithful Mending. I'm not attacking into... Well, I guess not really much is coming for just a green mana source. That's fine. We'll go Faithful Mending now. Surveil. 100% that goes to the grave. Draw 2, discard 2. We'll get rid of another Velomachus and maybe a second Faithful Mending. No, because we can get DRC into second Faithful Mending this way. Guess I get rid of Teferi. Doesn't look like they'll be playing any counter magic in green-white. Move to my turn here. We are pretty close on Delirium. DRC, shock in, or pre-combat Faithful Mending, trigger. We have creature instant planeswalker. Oh, I mean, we're getting rid of the Velomachus regardless. And then I believe land is the last one that needs to go. Yeah, we don't have land yet, so we'll put land away. Would kind of like to have land, but we did play our land for the turn, so that's okay. We do find a bunch of land, so that's fine. We need our 4th and 5th land to get going, so I'd probably get rid of Hollowed Fountain, Teferi, Time Raveler, and then it'd just be a question of playing a turn Faithful Mending and then going for Invoke Justice. I'm going to go ahead and play a second match because that was really, really quick. Opponent decided that they could not do it. Some sort of life gain deck on their end. Didn't seem like it was going to be too much of a problem where we were going. Queues have been fast, so hopefully we get a insta match real quick. Looks like we got one perfectly. Alright, second round 2 recording. Here we go. So this is... Let's hope for a good hand here. This is a decent hand for sure, and we have something to discard, so I will keep that hand. And then Flooded Strand either can go for... It should produce both the red and the white, because we want DRC and then we want to be able to brainstorm. So I think this is shock a Sacred Foundry territory. There's a DRC. Opponent's on Yorion. That kind of makes me just think ETB Flicker, maybe some sort of value strategy. Regardless, I'm going to be probably going with Faithful Mending here. We don't want a thinner deck yet. We'll get in for one. Probably would have wanted to do that last game as well. I definitely think that attacking into open mana like that would be fine. Let's go ahead and drop the Faithful Mending, see if they want to counterspell this. We do get our Surveil trigger, which is good. And I think that we'd rather just have a second DRC in here. And I'm not sure what my read is here, but I don't think that they have a lot of creatures, so I might get rid of one of these Brainstorms and then probably the Swords to Plowshares. Looks like they'll be on a control game plan. And actually, we just redraw this anyway, so that's fine. Here's a Flooded Strand, here's a DRC. This will allow us to also Brainstorm. And then we can probably use this Flooded Strand to find another white source, so we'll have 2 out of 4. I will go ahead and attack. See if they have something to flash in. It is a Snapcaster Mage, sure. Just a Snapcaster Mage for the block. I mean, I could just exile it. I think I will do that. So we will get yet another Sacred Foundry. And apparently that's enough for our opponent as well. 2 kind of quick concessions out of the opponents here. Kind of weird, not gonna lie. We are only at about a 4-minute recording, but that's honestly just about the same length as the round 1. So I'll go ahead and hop into quote-unquote round 3, but it'll kind of just be like another re-record. I'll see you there. Alright, here's that round 3. The opening hand doesn't really have a lot of creature spells. It's just a Brainstorm, and we are set up with the Invoke Justice. We'll have 2 out of 4 pips. And we should, by turn 3 or turn 2, have 3 cards in the graveyard. So that'll be 3 mana plus 2. Not quite enough for Dig Through Time, but we are kind of close. Well, if the opponent mulligans, I think I'll try to mulligan too. I'd say this is a bit better. We have DRC into Faithful Mending if we draw a good land. We'll have 2 draws to make it work, so I think that this is okay. And what do I get rid of? I think I get rid of the Teferi. Teferi is good unless they're on a combo deck or on control. I need to dig pretty hard to get Invoke Justice to target anything. Maybe I'm supposed to get rid of the Velomachus. Yeah, I think I need to take more playable cards in case I'm not as fast as I hoped that I was. I might even hold this DRC till turn 2. Oh, actually they're just on Once Upon a Time. So this is... I mean, this could be lands. So far just seeing the Arboreal Grazers. That's not typically in a tribal thing. This could just be natural order. I'm almost thinking that this is a natural order deck. Alright, we're going to start with our tapped land. Slowly get moving here. They are playing the new Surveil land, so that's always fun. They decide to keep that one. And it's yet another Arboreal Grazer. They could be natural ordering into a Craterhoof Behemoth, maybe. With that Brainstorm draw now, I can DRC plus Brainstorm. Hopefully finding a fetch land so that I can get some of the stuff out of my hand. We don't want Time Warp in the deck. Oh, hello. Grizzled Huntmaster, okay. So Grizzled Huntmaster is kind of an interesting card because your big beaters that you end the game with don't actually need to be in your deck and they can just sit in the sideboard. We get our Brainstorm off here. We'll Surveil. I Surveil anything to the graveyard except for a fetch land, or I guess a land in general. We find the land. We don't find anything to fetch. I'm thinking that this Swords to Plowshares is going to be pretty useful. Put the Invoke Justice on top as well, because we don't necessarily need it. Okay. So we'll have to be Brainstorm locked for a little bit. Move to our turn, draw this Time Warp. Hollowed Fountain can bounce the Grizzled Huntmaster via Teferi, but that doesn't really do anything for us. I think regardless I want to shock so that I can Faithful Mending plus Swords or Brainstorm. We want to attack end turn. We'll see how they attack and then make our decisions there. If I draw 2, discard 2, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I have the opportunity to go, where is it? Invoke Justice, bringing back Scholar of the Lost, taking a Time Warp that I've been at some point. Kind of good. That does give me a 9/9 that can attack, and that's already going to be a problem for them. Wait for them to attack. Then we'll try to see if we can flip DRC. Let's start with Faithful Mending. We do want this on top. Alright, there's a Velomachus to the bin. And I'd really love to just not lose this Time Warp, given that I'm going to be invoking Justice the Velomachus now. Maybe Teferi is not as useful. I don't think they were going to be playing instant speed effects. And then we can attempt for a DRC flip. Is Dig Through Time going to give me Delirium? It will not, but I think I'm getting rid of it regardless. Need that land. Need those last 2 lands. Alright, so there's a fetch. We can shuffle away now the Time Warp by putting it under this Hollowed Fountain. Hollowed Fountain should be on top. And okay, so they do go in. I'm going to take the damage, and we'll move to turn. We're going to have all 4 pips for Invoke Justice right on time, so we just got to make sure we don't die. This next turn with Faithful Mending. Oh, hello. Okay, Natural Order's a problem. Okay, just an Attract, so we can exile that for 1 mana. Perfectly fine. They will refill their hand, though, which is annoying. So the read that this was Natural Order is correct. I think, based on what we've kept in the hand, we should be able to deal with their main game plan pretty well. So another Natural Order. This is Winota. Oh, okay. So that Winota's a problem. They have to play Winota pre-combat, so now I need to kill Winota instead of doing anything to Atraxa. I have to Flooded Strand here. I might still pick up Hallowed Fountain, but we'll see, and then I'll probably Faithful Mending, plus Swords. We don't attack here. We can consider blocking, but prior to them attacking, we want to make sure that we kill the Winota, because that is not going to be okay to stick around. We will eat 1 Atraxa hit and be happy about it. I think I'm also okay to chump block the Huntmaster, if possible. So it's another Natural Order. What do they get? I can't do anything about it. Oh, hello. Okay, Ghalta goes off. And all this crap goes to the battlefield. The Agent of Treachery, just not a land, as long as it's not a land. Crap. I think that's the one decision they could make. Ah, dang. So I don't think I can win anymore, which sucks. We'll go Faithful Mending then. Okay, as long as this stuff doesn't have haste, I have 1 more untap. We'll surveil away. We have to surveil away Time Warp. And we have to discard 2 things. I guess it will be these. Dang, that's really unfortunate. Okay. This is a little hard to make work. I don't think I can do anything about this. That means the Swords to Plowshares needs to kill Winota, I guess, because otherwise they get 3 triggers and I die. Blue-white, sure. Pay 2 life. Exile Winota. That means we survive. Swords goes away. We'll be left with 4 lands next turn. That can happen. We're not blocking. We'll go to 2. Which actually was a bad idea because we're going to die to our Hallowed Fountain, but I don't think it really matters at this point. Let's see what Dig Through Time would find. We have to exile 5 cards for this. It doesn't really matter if we go out of Delirium. There's 5. And let's see what our next 3 draws were. We can surveil away the Teferi. That doesn't do anything for me. And there's Velomachus, Invoke Justice, DRC. Yeah, unfortunately, didn't quite have it here. We'll take our 2 combo pieces, and I think we'll just shock ourselves for the loss here. Opponent definitely hit well with that Natural Order for Ghalta. Very interesting build here of... Is this 3 or 4 color Winota? This is 1, 2... Yeah, this is 4 color Winota, sans black. Pretty interesting deck, and it was able to make it work. So that was round 3. Let's hop in round 4, go for 1 more of our combos. Alright, round 4. Let's go. No creatures, but we have spells to start. I'm going to give this one a try, although I think that this is probably a hand that I should mulligan. Probably start with the Rogran Triumph since I don't have other blue sources. We have the opportunity to go Polluted Delta here. I think I'll just play the Rogran Triumph for now. This could represent something else later if we want. Now the good thing is we do have the Invoke Justice, so that is the game plan all set up. We just have to find and discard the Velomachus. and I guess find one more land. Those are the 2 check marks to do. They found a couple of their cards. They'll Thoughtseize me. Pretty suspect hand here. From their perspective, they'll see the reanimation spell and otherwise just some setup cards, so maybe they will play accordingly, but hopefully they... Oh, they take Swords to Plowshares, which means this is in fact a creature deck. Okay. Well, I can play this Polluted Delta and then Brainstorm plus filter my Brainstorm away. This Deathrite Shaman is going to start to eat my graveyard, which sucks. And that does make the reanimation aspect a problem too. If they're smart, they will hold this Deathrite Shaman up until my end step every time, not attack with it, and that's going to make a real big problem for me. We can try to draw into another Swords to Plowshares to deal with the Deathrite Shaman, and maybe we can time it in like a smart way and get their graveyard hate out of the way right before we combo. They go for Wooded Foothills. I don't care. Let's see what they do. This could just be a control deck. Could also be mid-range. This turn 3 play will be pretty definitive. And they actually don't do anything. Deathrite doesn't even seem to be going for mana. Could just be priority check on their part. Looks like it was, and they're trying to figure out what play to make right now. So it looks like Deathrite's going to activate on Wooded Foothills, exiling it from their graveyard. That seems about right. And let's see what they decide to put on the stack. I would be unhappy to see a Shieldred. They don't seem to have made the right mana for that. Oh, it's just Natural Order. I don't think there's a green creature that would make me want to wait on this Brainstorm, or would make me want to do my Brainstorm early, I mean. So, we'll let it happen. It's a Coma. Oh, crap. Okay, so... this means that we need to find Swords to Plowshares in our upkeep. Otherwise, they're going to be able to deal with us. 2 cards into the library. What are they going to be? I think I don't need another Brainstorm. And honestly, the DRC is going to be a little mid. Maybe I get rid of the land. Yeah, I think I do that. Alright, then we Polluted Delta. Go ahead and shock. We'll find blue-white here. We can Brainstorm yet again, so we're looking 6 cards deep on their end step off of 2 mana, which is nice, and that's pretty brutal. So we now A, cannot shuffle, and B, they just have a Coma. Alright, so Coma is just tapping a permanent. Our DRCs could stick around. But they're not immune to Teferi, so this is actually not terrible. So we will get rid of the land that does not produce white. We already have 2 ways to make blue, and we kind of go like this. We will redraw these. I'll have the DRC sooner rather than later. Not that it really matters the order that I do this in. So we shock Sacred Foundry, we go to Fairy, we bounce Coma. They could have tapped down a land in my upkeep to avoid this. That would have been a pretty heads-up play by them. I'm not faulting them for not doing that. Alright, so we minus on the Coma. That goes back to hand. They won't be able to recast it right away. Nothing for them to tap either. They'll just have to kill it with the Coma Tendril. Indestructible doesn't matter. They just got rid of a 3/3. So my Teferi actually gets to stick around now. And it's about to be protected by 2 DRCs. Faithful Mending's a good take from them, so is Invoke Justice. I don't actually really care what they do. My plays are good no matter what. So they don't want me to have the DRC, that's good to know. We'll shock, play a DRC, and then we have Brainstorm Faithful Mending. Seems pretty solid. And this Invoke Justice is threatening for next turn. And they won't be able to do anything to stop it because it's a fairy. This has the potential to be a protected win. We'll take my DRC, so I'm going to go ahead and crack off Faithful Mending now. All this stuff's uncounterable. We get rid of the fountain. We are looking for specifically one card. I want to make sure that I... not sure if I should have brainstormed first or not, because that actually makes this Faithless Looting a lot worse. Yeah, maybe not the right move. Okay, it is what it is. We'll put the 2 cards back that they've seen, and then I guess just redraw and discard them. I would get rid of the Steam Vents out of the 2 cards, because we want to have multiple hits for Invoke Justice. And then, I guess it doesn't really matter. We will get rid of Steam Vents, and I suppose one of the Invoke Justices, since we do know that they play these comas. So we're a little bit insulated at their next play. We'll go plus here. And I suppose go ahead and shock in here. This does give us Invoke Justice, bringing back a DRC at instant speed. So that is something to note. I think, though, I'm going to just wait on this Faithful Mending. So they can attack Teferi, I don't really care about that. But they decide to just throw in the towel. They must have been stuck on lands. So I think really what makes the big difference here is them deciding to sack their Serpent to Coma when I bounced it. The Indestructible does nothing towards a targeted bounce, and yeah, I mean, I was able to keep a Teferi for like 3 more turns than I should have because of that. So slight misplay there, definitely changed the tone of the game there, but we did come out on top. So that's round 4 all done. We have one final round coming up, so stick with me here, and I will see you in round 5. Alright, it's the final round. We gotta hope for a good one here. This 7 has a lot of what we want. Gets the Velomachus into the graveyard early, has a DRC to start acceleration off of. I'm gonna hope that it is what we want to be doing. Sacred Foundry, we'll get 1 DRC out. Depending on if they look like blue-white control or not, I'll either save a DRC for later, once they wrath the board, or I'll go for the Faithful Mending right now. Okay, that's the Swords to Plowshares right away. I think that I'll just put this in tap to play another DRC. We'll play slow and try to get this Faithful Mending going. Could be Jeskai control still. Not out of the possibilities. Alright, fetching for something. Let's see if they have a play this turn or if they just hold up mana. If they hold up mana, this Faithful Mending plus DRC does give me a lot of real estate to work with. They're actually just going to Prismari Command here. Interesting choice to be able to ramp like that. We will need to just take this Faithful Mending to try to find a land, which we actually don't. That's unfortunate. I guess I get rid of Velomachus and... oh, it feels awkward getting rid of the Time Warp, but I think that is what we have to do. There's the land, just a little bit too late. We have the opportunity to hold up Swords to Plowshares, or to just try to play a Teferi, which could be good. I kind of get the feeling that they're going to counter spell me if I do anything, so I will just pass here. We'll use Faithful Mending on their end step. Bloodstained Mire comes down. Let's see if this is just for the land or for a play. Just for a Surveil land, that's fine. We'll get rid of a Polluted Delta, okay. Any more spells? Nothing. Maybe they are just a reactive deck. For that reason, we want to go for Faithful Mending. We'll use the one that's a bit more mana efficient here, since I think we're going to be pretty cut down on resources. Okay, so we're actually going to get a card back here. It is not the way that we hoped to do it, but it is one at the very least. They're going to know our game plan, which is a problem. They're very clearly a counterspell tribal deck. They chose actually to not give me a card. How interesting. If they're reading that I'm looking for lands, that's a very good read by them. They're still holding priority on my end step. Could be a sneaky Bowmasters off of black mana from Treasures. Think... Oh, maybe it's just me being desynced. Okay. Well, we will very quickly try to resolve that. Just a little quick refresh right here. You'll see my desktop. And hopefully Steam can launch this very quickly. I've actually just recently moved to the Steam version, or the Steam client of MTGA. Previously I was doing the just straight up executable install, and I think that definitely it's a little bit slower on Steam, so not sure if I'm liking it more than the original just install that you download from the MTG website. But regardless, we're back into the game here, and hopefully I haven't roped all the way out yet. Move to my turn. Sure. They're still holding their mana up. They know I have this Teferi, so I might as well play it into a counterspell. Looks like I passed through my turn, and this is just a UI bug. That's annoying. I'm going to take this Faithful Mending then while I can. Wonder if this Teferi is just going to be stuck in my hand. Get rid of one Velomachus, and I think it's probably Dig Through Time. We don't have that much mana. Move to my turn. This Teferi is just stuck here. That's so interesting. It could be cast. We'll put this in tapped, and I'd like to try to play this Teferi. Oh, there we go. That's such a weird UI bug. I take it this gets countered. They have 3 out of my 4 Faithful Mendings. Invoke Calamity on my Test of Talents, or on their Test of Talents? No, interesting. Not often I see an Invoke Calamity here. Pretty cool. So this is spell-based Jeskai control. They still have 2 mana here to counter my Teferi. I think they really want to do it if possible. Alright. I should not be auto-passing all the way through my turn. That doesn't seem right. Maybe it's because I have no ropes left. So Teferi will stick. That's amazing for us. A draw of any Invoke Calamity wins the game. Or sorry, not Invoke Calamity. My Invoke, not theirs. So that's 1 bolt to deal with Teferi, possibly another bolt here. We're going to have backup Teferi after this, so we can make this work. We will play around a Spell Pierce here. There's Teferi. And that made it an easy. We're going to plus him out of the way of more lightning bolts and such. And based on how many cards they have, I think that this Teferi sticks around for sure. We have a Hallowed Fountain for next turn, and if we can find the follow-up land after that, that might mean we get a hard cast Velomachus on the battlefield. That's some damage to Teferi. Will it be enough to kill him? It will not. Teferi plus. Hallowed Fountain does not need to be shocked. DRC. Say go, hold up Faithful Mending, and Swords to Plowshares. Seems like we might actually get there. Here's to hoping. Okay. That's fine. They're spending a lot of resources to deal with my Teferis. He has been extremely valuable here. Okay. Good to know. I'm going to let that happen, actually. Well, I should have just done this. It is pretty obvious that they should have. And that is the final land, so we go get rid of DRC and Swords to Plowshares, and if they just passed me priority, that is it. So this is... Oh my god. Okay, so what has happened here is if we are able to hit a time warp, we are extremely likely to win because we have one in hand. All we need to do is be able to take another turn off of this Velomachus. Here's to hoping. We attack in, that's not a swords in their hand. And we find time warp. Oh, let's go. Okay. We're not completely there. We draw for turn. This comes in tapped. We play Time Warp again. They go to 8. Oh, well, so they go to 8 on this turn, then down to 3, and then we presumably would have them from there. I think they definitely conceded a slight bit early, but it was looking like we had it for the most part. So that's round 5. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video. Subscribe if you're new for videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that's all for me. I'll see you in the next one for another historic or timeless video. Peace out.